performance. It's almost like shooting a full frame, an APS-C, and a micro Four Thirds all in one body. You have versatility, right? Love, 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 love. I love this camera I'm about to show you guys. Let's take a look. This is the brand new camera from Leica, the Q2, the follow-up to the wildly popular Q that came out a few years ago. Now, 4 years ago I think it was that the Q came out. I could be a little off on that, but I wrote a full extensive review on that camera over at stevehufphoto.com back then. I loved the camera for its snappy, punchy image quality, that Leica color signature, the all-in-one features of the body, and it was taking on at the time a camera that was also popular among a certain crowd. People who wanted a small, all-in-one convenient camera that packed a powerhouse punch in image quality. And that camera was the Sony RX1 series, the RX1R, the RX1R2. The Leica Q came in and people were buying up the Leica for its simplicity, its image quality, and the size and build of it, right? So now we have the Q2, and Leica has improved quite a few things on it. For starters, we have the same lens, the 28 1.7 Summilux lens. And a lot of you are like, I wanted a 35, or I wanted a 40, I wanted a 50. But there's something really cool about this Leica Q. While we still have the amazing 28 1.7 lens, we now have the ability to crop with a button on the back right by our thumb instantly to 35, 50, or 75 millimeter crop modes. And I'm going to show you an example of that right here in a second, but I want to talk a little bit about this camera. Now, this is just my first look. This is not a review. I'm going to have a review right here on YouTube in about 2 weeks or less, also over at the website, stevehufphoto.com. I'm going to compare it against the RX1. I'm going to shoot it in low light. I'm going to take some video clips with it. And I'm just going to put it through its paces, using it for what it was meant to be used for, taking photos, right? But this Q feels great in the hand. They refined the design a bit. It uses the Leica SL battery, which is really, really cool. It's a big, beefy, hefty battery for this camera. The SD card door on the bottom has a nice, secure slot. You can tell this is a made in Germany Leica. It feels solid. It feels like an M10, but it's not overly heavy, right? And the cool thing is it's versatile because you get those crop modes with this lens. And an f1.7 lens, you have a macro mode that is switchable right on the lens. You can go right in the manual focus just by pressing a button here as you turn the focus ring. It has a big, bright, beautiful OLED EVF that looks really, really good. Has a touchscreen LCD. The famous Leica simple menu system, which is down to basics. As I always say, less is more, and in this case it is true. But you also have little design cues like the pop-out diopter. You push this in, it pops out, you twist it, and here is that button when you want to crop or punch in, I should say. Now I'm going to show you a picture right here I took of Debbie earlier. I shot it at 28, 35, 50, and 75, so you can quickly see here in this first look what those images look like. Now keep in mind, when you crop in, you're not getting a 50 millimeter lens if you crop into 50, but you are getting a zoom of sorts. Though it's not zooming the lens, it's cropping from the sensor. Let's take a look. So this first shot here is at 28 millimeter full frame. I overexposed it a little bit by accident, so excuse that, but you can get an overall look. This goes to 35 millimeter. I just pressed the button and cropped right in. And then we're going to go to 50 millimeter crop with a push of a button. Amazing, amazing. It still looks great. And then finally 75 millimeter for the close-up. This is all at the touch of a button right by your thumb on the back of the camera. Just remember, when you use the crop mode of the Q2, you're not getting a 50 millimeter type of lens or the 50 millimeter depth of field or bokeh. You're getting the bokeh and depth of field of a 28 1.7, which is what the lens is. But it's giving you that convenience and capability to use the power of that 47 megapixel sensor to just crop in with a push button of your thumb and get a little bit more reach, right? Also, the cool thing is if you're shooting RAW or RAW and JPEG, those crops will be in your RAW file. So if you shoot at 50 millimeter, your RAW file is going to show up as 50 millimeter equivalent. So it's already there in your RAW or your JPEG. This is a cool camera, guys. I'm going to test it in low light, all light, video against the RX1. I'm going to tell you what I think about it compared to the original, all in my upcoming review over the next 2 weeks. It's going to be right here on YouTube, so be sure to subscribe if you want to see that. But this is a gem of a camera, very versatile, all in one. Throw it in a bag, throw it around your shoulder, throw it around your body, and you have all kinds of focal length options. Not really focal length, but focal length equivalent options. It's like shooting a full frame, an APS-C, and a micro four thirds camera all in one body. So look for my review soon. Thank you all. I will see you next time.